Hello, it's me, Richard Herring. Welcome to my Leicester Square Theatre podcast. Today's guests are Rob Delaney and Sharon Horgan. I'm very excited. This episode has been sponsored as well by an app called Stickums. It's spelled Stickums. It looks fun written down. It looks like it's going to be very rude. Let's see if it is. No, it's a behavioural management app for groovy parents. There's also a sticker collection for kids. The important things, unlike any other awards charts, which look more like spreadsheets with gold stars on them, this one is designed to look and play like an app that kids will want to use. The app is called Stickums. It's free. Might as well get it. iPhone and iPad app for cool parents who want to encourage their kids. It's terrible when people tell you you're cool, right? Yeah. And to behave in a better way rather than thrashing them with sticks. 3, it's funny. The character stickers are really cool. The artist is Lou Stringer, who worked for the Beano, the Dandy, Oink, and loads more British comics. 4, parents have full control from a code-protected dashboard. Only the parents can buy new sticker packs, and everything in the game can be fully customed, from the goals themselves to the amount of stars earned and the number of stars needed to unlock stickers. 5, kids earn bonuses every day by doing sums. Again, the difficulty and number of sums available each day is completely customizable. The website is stickums.com, Stickums. There's also a Facebook, search for Stickums, and Twitter @StickumsApp. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed that advert for Stickums. I'd have done it for free if I'd known it was called Stickums. Let's enjoy this week's podcast. Do get that; it's free for the moment. It sounds like they get you on the app, on the extras, doesn't it? But get it for free. It sounds like fun. Cheers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Leicester Square Theatre. Please welcome a man who's very prepared for this. He's so prepared for this podcast that the audience are in awe of it and excited about it. It's Richard Herring. Please welcome him. Hello. Thank you very much. Hello. What's this rubbish chair? Where is the music? What's this? Where's my nice chair? Welcome to Richard Herring's Leicester Square Theatre podcast, or as some of the cool kids have started calling it, Leicester Per. Leicester Per, you're not cool. That's what the cool kids are calling it. This week I've been mainly to thank the people at home who, and maybe here in the room, who contributed to the Kickstarter campaign. I've been making more T-shirts. I've done 67 of the 74 T-shirts I've got to make. I should be doing proper work. I've also been drawing around my hand. This is an example of that. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to do that 600 times. I mean, who would really want that? That's the question. It's massively inconvenient. I thought, that'll be easy. People give 20 quid, they get a picture of my tiny hand. I didn't really think it was going to take me 3 weeks to achieve. And a lot of pens. And yes, I've got some stuff on mine. And I've had quite a week. The new posters are out for my new show, Happy Now. Chris Evans, not that one. Put in the poster here now. Ooh, it's faded to the poster there. And you can come and see that show. All the tour dates are on my website. And also I'm doing all 12 of my stand-up shows at the Leicester Square Theatre. And there's a poster for that. Ooh, it might be too late for the people at home to see some of them. Ooh, there it is. I'm very excited about those. That's more for the people at home. I smashed my bedroom mirror this week. I'm trying to sell my house in Shepherd's Bush, which is difficult to do because it's a real shithole. So I'm trying to convince people that it's worth spending lots of money to come and live there. It's difficult. So you just got to lie. I've had people throw eggs at my house this year. I've had a man shit in my front garden. I mean, you can't put that. You don't put that on the. That isn't there at the bottom. How many people have shitted in the front garden this week? It's only happened once. It's once. I've been there for 13 years, as far as I know. I might come down and look at my front garden and find there's a whole load of tramp shit down in there. But, at least I have a house and a toilet, so, look on the bright side. I smashed my mirror just as someone... I was moving stuff around just as someone was coming to look around my house. And then, weird, that's not part of the house. It's my bedroom mirror. But then I had, 10 minutes to try and hide this broken mirror. Because, weirdly, that just feels like if you walked into a house and there's a smashed mirror and glass everywhere, I don't think you would buy the house. Even that's not part of the house. That will be. I think you would be suspicious because there's that kind of supernatural worry, isn't there? I think about you're meant to get 7 years bad luck if you smash a mirror. But the woman who came around the house seemed to quite like it. I then had to go to a doctor's appointment and get some results, and the result that was mainly good news. And I'm quite old now, it's never going to be all good news. It's not as bad as it could have been. And lots of kind of cool things were happening that were nice. So I actually wonder if smashing a mirror is good luck, because I sort of figure like a mirror. I've had that mirror for 15 years in my bedroom. It's like a standalone mirror. And all the things that mirror has seen in those 15 years. Literally millions of people have come through those doors. Hundreds of thousands of them have left. And you know, the thing is actually quite good. Like, in a way, that mirror holds the ghosts of all the past, doesn't it? Of all the people in the past. It's like to smash a mirror, that is a fresh start. You know? Or does it mean that there are just now millions of fragments of all those things somewhere else? But I've thrown it away anyway, so it's gone now. But that's quite an interesting philosophical point. And I took my baby to a wedding last weekend, and it's good being a baby because you're the centre of attention. My baby's very sociable, unlike me. I'm useless at parties. I don't really like being in crowds of people unless they're all sitting in rows in darkness staring at me. And I love that, but I don't like being... So I'm very unsociable. Because she smiles at everyone she sees. Everyone loves her. And also it's quite cool because she's very sociable, then she gets a bit tired and then she goes to sleep. And it kind of made me think, I'd quite like that. And as an adult, I'd quite like just someone to push me around in a pram, like a giant pram. And I wear a nappy, I know there are services you can go to where you can pay for this, but it's not a sexual thing. Once we and poo get involved in sex, that's the end of sex for me, and that's where I go, well, it's time for the sex to stop. There is some poo here. I'm not interested in that. You have seemed to have urinated. Let's stop having sex. I have urinated on myself. Perhaps you should go. That is where... So it's not a sexual thing for me, but it'd be quite convenient just to not have somebody who would change your nappy for you, and just a massive stroller you could just lean back in and go to sleep every couple of hours. I think that could be... I might take that to Dragon's Den. That might be my new Dragon's Den. But anyway, look, we've got 2 podcasts hopefully to record this evening. Next week's it's coming up as well. And it may not come up with the other guest is on the back of a motorcycle from Pinewood, it's like Challenge Annika or something. Actually, I might get her on. She'll be good. Will you please welcome my guests this evening? They are probably best known. She is probably best known as Miscellaneous in Shoreditch Twat. And he is best known for appearing on Richard Herring's Leicester Square Theatre podcast. I think it's fair. I don't think that's arrogant. I think it's fair to say that is what most of you will know him, please, from. Will you please welcome Sharon Horgan and Rob Delaney, ladies and gentlemen? Here they are. Unbelievable. Utterly unbelievable. Come in. You can sit where you like. Thank you. Come in. Sit down. How are you doing?
It's actually really challenging to play Miscellaneous.
It is. What does Shoreditch Twat? Shoreditch Twat. Were you the twat?
Did you not see it?
I haven't seen it. I know everyone else is. That's why they're here to talk about.
Well, it was really good.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be.
It was sort of a pre-Nathan Barley type thing that we made a pilot of, and then it didn't go any further.
Right.
But Miscellaneous was the best character in the show.
Yeah, well, Shoreditch has kind of got more Nathan Barley since Nathan Barley now, hasn't it?
Yeah, everyone looks like that now.
No,
you would
right?
fit in very well.
This is just because I'm lazy. It has nothing to do with that Shoreditch bullshit. Shoreditch twat, which one?
But I don't mind it all. There was a big quiz on the internet today having to go at all the stupid businesses in Shoreditch, like people going to buy
it's just
cereal
coffee.
And stuff. I don't mind that. I think
it's like artisan
those
coffee.
2 guys who serve, they've done a recipe book for cereal now. There's 2 guys who look like you, except they've got grey hair. So it's like a mixture of you and me, actually. And they have a shop where they sell cereal.
Yeah, serial killer.
Yeah, I think that's quite nice. I like cereal.
Okay.
Like people going, it costs £5. You can buy a pack of cereal for £2. Yeah. Have you ever been to a restaurant? They don't charge. It's not a supermarket. I know he's just pouring some milk on some cereal, but he's still making you something. I'm quite behind those guys, but they've got a recipe book out, which I think might be pushing it a bit far.
Aren't they twins as well? That's my whole problem with it. It's just twinny weirdos.
Adult twins can be scary. Not always. I have one pair of adult friends that I love dearly, but a lot of times when you see adult ones, especially I think those guys dress alike.
Yeah.
No, don't do that.
most twins die as children become ghosts, I think, is that.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
it's unusual for twins to get to adulthood. That's
I know.
why, I think that's why it's
Yeah, or one kills the other one.
In the womb, normally.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they eat.
They feast off each other.
What do you remember about being
that's
on...
what I think about us.
That's
honestly.
actually a cereal topping in that show.
No, when people say, like, are you guys lovers in real life? I'm like, no, we're kind of more like fraternal twins. Why did that stop working then? You even invoke adult twins and electricity storms your stuff.
It's because my microphones won't allow you to tell a lie, Rob. That is what it is.
Hey, I
They
tried.
cut out.
I tried. We have it on our thing. We say we're not lovers. You just got to say it once. Now it's whatever.
Well, as we've got onto, let's get straight onto that, because obviously I mainly want to talk about the sexual chemistry between the two of you, which is, if you've seen Catastrophe, which is a fantastic sitcom, and I think generally, I mean, there are some brilliant sitcoms at the moment. I genuinely think there are some fantastic sitcoms out there that are being made in Great Britain, but I think this is possibly going to be seen as the kind of classic sitcom of the era, because it's like a new thing. I'm not going to lick your arseholes any more than that, but it's not. It feels wrong to me when I'm being nice to the guests. I'll turn that around pretty quickly. But there is a very strong sexual chemistry between the two of you, and I think all of the viewers, even though we know it's pretend. We would like it if you genuinely got together in real life. As much as that would hurt your
You know his wife has just had a baby.
I do.
Yeah.
I would need 5.
I'm not sure that's the loveliest wish I've ever
I know,
heard.
but I still think even though 5 children would be from broken homes and two partners would be very, I'm presuming unhappy, maybe not, then I still think the viewing public would like to... And then you could do a sitcom about that, about 2 twatty actors who ruin each other. But it is. How do your partners feel about it? Because you're kind of having quite a sexy time together in this.
There is sexy time. There is, yeah. How do they feel about it?
I think they feel okay generally.
Yeah, I mean, is that how you want to frame it? I mean, you can speak. Why don't we? Should be separate answers. My wife doesn't care for it. You know, ha ha. When somebody put in a punchline, edit in that I said a joke.
Well, no, yeah, that probably is true. My husband doesn't care for it.
No.
But it's more sort of when my daughter deliberately winds him up about it. Like, she started asking him, she started asking me around him what it's like to kiss you.
Oh.
What a little bitch!
I was out doing stand-up, not with you, the other night, and my 2-year-old said to my wife, he said, is Daddy with Sharon? And my wife just shook her head and was like, this is very sad.
But the reality of it is that it's completely unsexy, because Rob is very hairy, and that means that a lot of sweat forms and smells, and so generally he's kind of looming over me with a sort of handmade.
They did make it by hand. I remember they asked me, how big should I make it? And I was like, well, don't insult me, but also not that big.
A little handmade felt. Sort of. Is it felt? I don't know.
There's a lycra element. It's stretchy.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah. Just in case.
Just a little sack for its cock and balls.
Yeah.
And then you thought that it would be better for everyone if you didn't wear it. You felt that it was
just
we had to
because.
set you straight that.
No, you were like, please wear it. Here's the thing, though. It looks. What I'm saying is, visually, it looks. I think you might not rather have him looming over you and actively sweating liquid sweat onto you, but you might rather aesthetically look at a naked man than this thing, because it's a horrible pouch. So you just have a unified blubbin hanging out under a hair cloud. So it looks very wrong. It looks wrong is what it looks like. You'd rather it touch you than my actual penis. But
when we were doing an interview in the States, because the show has just gone out
it's on
over
in
there.
a lot of countries.
And and I was talking about the smell. when we're filming sex scenes, and you were like, well, I love that you're just blaming the smell on me. And I went, well, I don't make as much smell as you. And you're like, well, you're not making the air any sweeter.
Well, no, that's because there was one scene where we were both we were like in a fort, and the more takes we did, the worse it got under there. And I wasn't the only person there.
So, you met each other on Twitter,
Sure.
and then it all grew from there.
Yeah.
That's quite. So you were a fan of. I read you were a fan of Sharon's.
Oh, yeah.
First, and then
Yeah,
you stalked
correct.
her on Twitter.
Yes.
Until she agreed to do a show with you.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, I mean, I just wrote her and said, thank you for following me. Is there a glitch on your computer that made you follow some idiot who at the point worked at the way echelons below a mailroom at a financial newspaper, calling people on the telephone being like, would you like to buy a terrible newspaper that was responsible for the recent global financial collapse? And they would say no, and I go like, I know, me neither, and made less than minimum wage. I'm pretty sure that direct message was sent from there. And then we just became friendly. Then we would hang out when I did stand up over here, or if she came over to LA to make a pilot or something, and then we just kind of found out that we laughed at the same things and stuff. So we decided to make a successful TV show.
We went for a coffee together, and we found that we had great sexual chemistry.
We have to channel this in some way that won't hurt our family too much, only in a weird way. I think that's good. That as a performer, that is one of the perks. I'm always looking for ways to cheat on my wife that don't count. It's cheating. And you can do that if you're acting. It's allowed.
Right.
So that's allowed. My other one that I've come up with, she won't let me do this, is have sex with a robot.
Why not? Why wouldn't you?
Well, I
do
think
that?
I don't think that's cheating.
But what kind of
Like a very realistic human, like the woman in Humans, the very sexy woman. But she's a robot. She's not a human. She's a robot. So it's not cheating. It's just the same as having sex with a hairdryer or something.
But would she mind if you had an affair with a blow-up doll? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Would she probably wouldn't mind that, would she? So that's what. At what point does it become that cheating? I think if it's not a human being.
I would ask.
Or an animal.
If you staple a microchip to a real human woman.
Well, I was talking to Alex Kratotsky on one of my shows, who's a science journalist. And she said even fillings count as kind of robotic enhancement. So I suppose if we get that's
okay.
so we could start pushing
fillings,
it. We could start pushing it that way. So you said I could have sex with a robot, and this makes a person a kind of cyborg.
Sure. So, oh my God, I have metal in my arm.
Oh, there you go.
I'll jerk you off after.
I've got metal. What?
You have metal too.
I've got metal in my hip. Yeah.
Hey now.
Fantastic. Threesome. It's a robotic threesome. No, I haven't got. I've got one filling, so that's good. We're covered. And you got Carrie Fisher in your sitcom. How did that happen?
We saw her give an award to Graham Norton last year at the Attitude Magazine Awards. And I just had a chocolate milkshake with Oreo and a cheeseburger and fries with Sharon. That's why I'm still digesting it. And Sharon, and the award that she gave she was amazing. And her speech, she wrote herself and was just brilliant. And Sharon said, "We should get her to play your mother." And I was like, "Fuck off, you're drunk." And then we just sent her the pilot and the scripts, and she amazingly agreed to do it.
I don't think she even believed it was a show, really.
You're right.
She just wanted a jolly to London. But,
Yeah, I know. I think she just only just found out that it was a real show and watched it because we saw her tweeting about it. She was like, "I finally watched it. What do you know? It's pretty good." That's how she talks now.
I don't know if I can't remember if you do many scenes actually with her. There's a lot on the phone, isn't there? Or is that?
It is a telephonic relationship, but it's a robust one.
Yeah.
But it's we used TV trickery. We were actually in the same room
We were,
at the time.
So you did. Were you excited? Because I get overexcited with things.
Oh, we were so excited. We
Freaked out.
were just disgusting idiots. We were kind of following her around a little bit. We were all hanging around outside her door. I made a really bad joke because she brought her dog over with her, and her dog has a permanent lolling tongue. And she was talking about how much she loved the dog, and I was like, well, you're single. A dog's got a lot.
Look at that tongue.
And then it was no laughter. And, but And we tried to hang out with her afterwards. we got her
Total
email
silence.
and her phone number. We were like, let's go for dinner, and she didn't
No
respond.
Thanks,
Silence.
Mom.
Well, maybe in the next... You are doing another series, aren't you?
Sure are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell me everything that happens in it now?
We have our one little factoid that we're telling people.
Okay.
That it doesn't begin where the last one ended.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it.
It's on
That's
another
it.
planet. No, it's more of a time thing. A bit of a leap forward.
Yeah.
Cool. I really like
Juicy.
without giving too, maybe this gives a bit away, but in the first series, I really loved the way that towards the end of the last show, you're having a nice time and in the bedroom, and then it very quickly turns into a kind of stupid argument that you can't really see. It's so real. But you never see that. It's so, you're being nice to each other, and then it becomes a really horrific argument like you have when you're in relationships with people.
Yeah.
It's just so good. I mean, I don't really...
Oh, thanks.
I mean, I'm presuming they come... I've been arguing with my wife quite a lot this week.
Good.
I hope just out of time. So we've been together for 7 years, and I think we're all right.
Yeah.
Because this never really happens, but because we're very tired, because we have a tiny human being sucking all... literally everything out of us. No, not
Out of you?
that came out wrong. So we've been a bit tired, but it's the way that like something that's very innocuous and you're trying to help someone, and then suddenly you're both shouting at each other.
I've been reading a parenting book because I now have a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 2-month-old, and I've been reading this book about how with like 2-year-olds and stuff, you can't really talk about the facts. Like you can't be like, you shouldn't shit on the floor because, because they don't understand stuff like that. So you just kind of have to relate to them more emotionally.
Yeah.
So I'm actually trying to do that more with my wife now. Not listen to the words that she says because they're fucking garbage, but to just be like, read the cloud of emotion she's sending at me and more react to that. And that's a better way. And that's not to denigrate my wife, I know, because I'll be like, and I'll hear myself and I'll be like, doesn't make sense, not valid, not important. And so I think basically people should just be like, to each other and we'd all be happier if you just kind of...
I happened upon Rob's phone and saw a long text from his wife, which was maybe a little bit complainy, and Rob's reply was just, "I'm sorry."
And then you said that's going to infuriate her. And everything was like point, question, query, point, and concern. And I was like, I'm sorry.
But was that a hard scene to write, or was it an easy scene to write? Because to get that transition between those two states, although it's sort of something that everyone will recognise, it's quite hard to work how you get there.
I think
fun to write.
It was pretty hard to sort of condense it because it needs to be like two and a half minutes long or something like that. But it was easy to use our own unhappy marriages as experience.
And then break off, make love, and then go back to it.
No, but what we try to do with this show is show that like marriage is interesting, right? And so you have fights that are like operatic, and I just the drudge of marriage is also accompanied by super crazy highs and lows and stuff, and so we wanted to show that particularly with that episode rather than just like she's annoying or he's why does he
Well, what I think was quite interesting about it is that like in most sitcoms someone would be like written as a dick, we go, the guy's a dick, he's got this girl pregnant and he's turned out to be a dick. And actually, although both the characters are stupid in their own ways, they're quite decent human beings.
What are you talking about?
I know they're very heavily based on the two of you. They're decent human beings who are just trying to do their best and sometimes fuck up. I think that's it's quite rare to see, even in drama, I think.
Well, we really tried hard to make him not a dick, didn't we? We wanted him to sort of be a nice guy because we felt that you'd sort of... that's what you'd expect. You'd expect the guy to be like, oh, and the woman to be like, But, so we wanted to turn that on its head a bit.
Yeah. And it is quite, but there's a very dramatic moment at the end of the first series, and there's proper like drama, and I mean it's about someone getting cancer as well.
Just barely.
You're making it's just a tiny
little bit of that.
Well, that's what happens, you know. I mean, a doctor wrote me on Twitter today saying like the medical inaccuracies frustrated me, and I drafted something to her and then deleted it because I've at least gotten to the point where I know not to respond to people online unless they're verbally filleting me. The only thing in the show that is transcribed from our real lives is all the medical stuff. Yeah, we might have had bad doctors, but we didn't decide to disseminate info that was in any way other than
all
what
that
happened
horrible
to us.
stuff is all either my
Yeah.
pregnancies or his wife's
Yeah.
pregnancies.
Yeah.
Or your pregnancy.
My own.
Yeah.
Were you spying on us? That's how you got all this stuff. How did they know we were doing that? Well, let's talk to you, Sharon, because I know I've talked to Rob. He's quite, he's an alcoholic and stuff and crashes his car. Boring. So they've heard it all before. Your parents ran a turkey farm.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Tell me all about that.
Do you really want to?
I'm kind of interested in proper things that people. They were right. You were born in a pub in London, and then
I was born in a pub,
and
like
then
Jesus.
And then you went to Ireland. And then you went to Ireland to.
I was born in the smoking area.
Yeah.
The outdoor smoking area of a pub. No, my parents were publicans.
Yeah.
First of all in London, and then
Publicans or Republicans?
Publicans.
Okay.
And then they made the inevitable jump into poultry farming. I think because at the time it was just they had 2 young kids, and it's maybe not the best environment. Pub
Surely,
life.
like loads of birds is a much worse environment. There's a lot of bird shit and disease.
Well, I don't know. It's quite easy to drink in a pub, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not a great thing. But actually, it was really nice as a kid being in a pub because people are drunk and they're friendly and they buy you crisps, and which doesn't happen at a turkey farm. So they moved to Ireland and we had lots of turkeys, and every Christmas my parents, when we came of age, would take us out of school and employ us on their farm, and we would pluck turkeys and make our Christmas money and buy like tape recorders and things. So. What else can I tell you about it?
I don't know.
I can tell you about. It's pretty easy to kill a turkey.
Is it?
Yeah, you hang them. I think there's machines, robots to do it now.
That's my kind of robot. If it can be simultaneously killing a few birds.
But back in the day, there was no robots, so you would hang them upside down, and then local lads would walk around and you grab the turkey by its head and you just give it a swift little pull down. You break its neck. And then the best. I hope you sound like you're really enjoying this story.
I think they all thought it was just a turkey farm where the turkeys went to live and had a lovely time. You looked after them. What? You killed the turkeys?
In an early catastrophe draft, Sharon was like, "So then Rob will kill a turkey so that she can achieve orgasm." And I'm like, "No, normal people don't have to do that."
But anyway, they kill the turkeys, and they're still kind of in their death throes. And then you pluck it while it's still warm.
Right.
And then the feathers.
Just because it's more fun that way. I don't want to pluck a cold turkey.
Feathers come out a lot easier. But it was lovely.
Yeah.
We ate a lot of turkey.
Yeah.
There was always a new recipe involving turkey.
Because most people just have that for the week after Christmas. That was your whole life.
Just
Especially
my whole
for
life.
most of the weeks that weren't Christmas. It was just,
Yeah.
we haven't sold any turkeys again for some reason. Then Christmas, there's literally no turkeys. We've had a great week. Let's get more turkeys in. It's finally taken off.
Merry Christmas, here's a turkey.
But it was kind of fun. They're fun when they're small because they're like cute little, they're yellow and cute and they're like little chicks, and you can they're in these lovely warm pens with sawdust, and sometimes my dad would go down and after the pub and have a little sleep, and one time we found him like covered in chicks. They were all like getting warm from his body.
As a child, were you ever concerned about the turkeys that were being killed? Because a lot of kids will go, "Oh, little lovely baby turkeys."
No.
Didn't care.
I don't think so. Because you didn't equate the big, stupid, ugly things with the cute little. Not really.
No.
I got a bit concerned when we had 2 pet lambs. and we called them chops and cutlets. But I don't know why we did that because we really loved them. And then my dad was feeding me one day, and he pointed out that the thing in between my baguette was baguette, like I had a baguette in Ireland. Between my,
Potato.
But, the thing that was beside my potato was our pet lamb cutlets, and then so I gave up meat then. Yeah.
You didn't care about the turkeys?
Not really,
Just the
no.
lambs? Oh.
So tasty, so good for you.
And you worked in Camden selling bongs and T-shirts.
Yeah.
I'm interested in people's jobs before they became famous.
Yeah.
What was your favourite T-shirt you sold in the drug-based
I like
T-shirt?
the Pope Smokes Dope, obviously. That was a big favourite. We didn't sell that many. There was like Take Me to Your Dealer, kind of terrible things. The bongs were more interesting. An interesting bong would always come in, and you'd sort of tell people how to smoke their illegal highs through them. and then, so a lot of the time it was just like students coming in and you'd show them how a bong works, and then there would just be a bunch of crackheads buying the really small pipes, really scaring you. So it was a good sort of mixture. Mark Lamarr walked by once. That was probably the most exciting thing that happened. I was there.
Walked by?
Yeah, he just walked by. And we sort of went, "Hey, Mark Lamarr," and he's kind of like, gives a look. And and then in the hope that Mark Lamarr might walk past again, we had this shelf where all the pipes and stuff were. And my co-worker lay in the shelf under the glass, like stretched out his whole body and lay there in the hope that a comedy person might walk by and think that was really funny. But he didn't walk by again. But it was fun, yeah.
That's not how to get Mark Lamarr. Someone lying. That's not what he likes.
Oh.
Not someone lying in a case.
Like?
His MTV's around there. There've been loads of comedians working there.
I only
saw
remember Mark Lamarr.
Only Mark Lamarr. I'd probably walk past there. On my way to my 2 weeks presenting MTV Hot. I wouldn't have looked in because I'm anti-drugs, even legal ones. Even ones used in hospital to help sick children. Very, very consistent. You're living in England now.
Yeah.
How's that going for you?
I really
Different
love
than
it
America,
a lot.
isn't it? We say pavement.
That you do. Yeah, and I'm trying to teach my little boys to say things like that. I'll be like, on the sidewalk, pavement, because I don't want them to get made fun of at school.
How are you enjoying England? Well, you've been here for about a year, have you?
Coming up, 10 months now. Love it a lot. We had a baby, or my wife had a baby here a couple months ago, which was great. Big fan of the NHS. Yeah, and
we're getting rid of that.
Yeah,
That and the BBC, we don't like that. BBC, NHS rubbish.
Oh
Get rid
God,
of it. So rubbish.
The NHS is going online.
Oh. You know what's funny is they don't have gas and air in the U.S. Like when my wife.
No air in the U.S. What? No gas? How are they going to drive their big fucking...
We breathe a gelatinous. No, we yeah, but just gas and air, like a tube, like that comes out of the wall that you breathe when you're having a baby here. Yeah. They don't have that in the U.S.,
That's
which I think
terrible,
is
terrible.
It's so silly because even if it's a placebo, which it's not, you still put a thing in your mouth that makes you go like, which is a very helpful thing to do when you're having a baby. And then laughing gas comes out. So my wife was very happy with the gas and air. She had our baby in a pool, which is amazing. Yeah. In the U.S., they don't let you do that.
I took too much gas and air in my first labour.
Is that why your eldest is?
Well, you can carry around like a balloon. I thought the gas, I was really looking for, because I've never take drugs. And I thought when I get in there, that's what I'm straight there, pushing my wife off that, and I'll just be sucking on that while we're waiting. And I thought it didn't do, just made me feel a bit lightheaded. Is that what drugs do? Is that
that's
I'm very disappointed. I would say if I was
It didn't make you want to dance.
It didn't make,
weird.
It certainly didn't make me think I want to push a bowling ball out of my anus. So now I've done that, I'm fine. Let's get a monkey out my urethra. I don't think it was enough. I think the other drugs were better.
Yeah, also helpful.
Did you have the epidural?
I wish I did. My wife was inside. It's a horrible thing. I think you're doing. I don't want to talk about it too much. I think you're doing similar stuff in your current show. But I went in my new show. You know, it's so horrible. It's meant to be the most wonderful day, the day your baby's born. But it's so horrible seeing your wife in that much pain. So once the epidural was kicked in, she was very happy
Yeah.
and was fine. We had 3 or 4 hours. I wrote a blog. She was just sitting there. She was happy. I've been good up to there.
Yeah.
And I thought,
That's fine.
Yesterday's blog. Yeah, better get that. Going to be busy later on.
Yeah, it's funny because my wife had our first 2 in Los Angeles, and in the United States, when you're pregnant, they're like, the woman has been afflicted with pregnancy, squeeze money out of her, hook her up to machines, and here it's just a midwife who's like, how's it going? You want some tea or not? I don't care. But except in a fun way. And so it was just lovely. And the fact that she was just breathing stuff out of the wall and got to have it in a pool, she just enjoyed the British birth so much more. Yeah. So much more humane and good.
Well, maybe we'll go and have the next one in America, so the third one's more enjoyable.
Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah. But it still would have been horrific.
Yeah, but I cared with the first one, but like by the third one, I'm like, stop whining.
But it's even the bit before. I mean, once she had the epidural, she was sort of fine. But before she had the epidural, she was being sick and she was really in pain for the contractions, which I hadn't. I thought it's going to be bad to begin with, and then it'll get much worse. But it was almost worse at the beginning.
Okay.
And we had a midwife who was like, well, you can come in. We'll probably send you home. Mm-hmm. My wife was going, I'm in so much pain. Yeah. And even when she was throwing up every minute, they were going, yeah, well, you might have to go. We're going to let you in. We're going to let you. It's just about 4 centimetres or whatever it had to be. We're going to call it 4 centimetres. And let you in. So she wasn't like, all the rest of them were very nice. She was from Northern Ireland.
My second midwife, her nickname was Magic Fingers.
Right.
Oh.
No tears.
My wife's midwife she was of Iranian descent. She had on a hijab and she had a thick Scottish accent. And she was like 19 and super cute. She was the most amazing person ever, and we live with her now.
Still in touch?
Yeah, I wish. Seriously, she's the most fascinating and wonderful person I've met in many years.
I mean, I think that might be considered bad if you sort of had got off with the midwife. I'm sure it's happened.
We know a guy who had a male he didn't have it, but his friend in his like NCT group had a male midwife, and the dad and the male midwife hooked up.
During the birth or afterwards?
Yeah. And I know that doesn't sound believable, but I don't care because it's true.
Maybe he was a robot. And it might have been a robotic midwife, and then that's fine. Pulling was, I suppose, where you... Well, actually, I think Annually Retentive was the first time I ever became aware of you.
You were on that show.
I was on that show, but I was disappointed that you weren't in the bit that I was in. I thought, I'll do that because I might meet Sharon Horgan. She's pretty cute. And then all I met was Jimmy Carr and Rob Brydon. What a waste of time. But it was but that you kind of were the start. You sort of really shone in that show, I think, didn't you? And then left Bryden behind.
Like yes, indeed, yes.
But that's where you sort. I think is that fair to say? Where you sort of...
Yeah, I think that was the thing that I did that got me other jobs. I mean, I'd done other really shit stuff before that. Miscellaneous people in Shoreditch Track. I'd done a sort of weird panel show thing. I did the first series of the Friday Night Project.
Yes, you did.
I did some really odd stuff.
Yeah.
And then,
I'd forgotten about that first series. I'd become, all in my memories, just Justin Lee Collins.
Poor.
So,
it's pretty poor.
That's all I can think of is Justin Lee Collins. Most of the time. About most things. But yeah, so it was you and Rob Rouse and was it Jimmy Carr in the first? Yeah. What a strange collection. Is any of that on YouTube? I didn't think to watch it.
I fucking hope not.
Let's all go and watch that. I really like Rob Rouse. He's really funny.
He's great. He's so lovely.
I mean, not that I don't like Jimmy Carr. That sounds very... I like Jimmy Carr as well.
Jimmy Carr was definitely looking at me going, what the fuck are you doing here? He didn't understand it at all. But then I didn't either, so that's fine.
So that's how it starts. But Pulling was obviously this... again, it was sort of a groundbreaking sitcom in terms of it about being women behaving badly. Uh-huh. But I mean, I just think men and women are the same, aren't they?
In a lot of ways.
That's why we're made to think that we're meant to act differently, and people conform to their stereotypes a bit. But I think women, clearly when men are going out pulling, there must be women that they are pulling, and vice versa. So we're all behaving in that way when we're in that stage of life. So it was it was an unusual thing to see on TV at that time.
Yeah, I think so, because it was completely anti sort of aspirational as well. It was, no one ever looked at that show and thought, I want to be one of those girls. But it was, it was really great fun to write. It was really great fun to do. And we all, I think the main thing people talk about pulling is that it was cancelled, but Dennis and I, we just couldn't believe our luck that we even got a chance to do it, in the first place. So we never felt bitter.
Good. Well, you shouldn't, because I don't think of it that it was canceled. I think it was the best sitcom that ever happened. And now I don't. Whenever a sitcom is longer than 2 series, I'm like, Pulling didn't need to be more than 2 series. So what are they whining about?
But that's a lot of UK sitcoms are just 2 series, and that's a decision. Yeah. You can just say it was our decision to make it.
Yeah, it's too late.
I think it's lazy. I think people, if you should do the people who choose to stop it are not the people who get stopped by the powers that be. But it sort of seems to me, if you've got a good sitcom together, why stop at 2 series? It's just
sort of agree. But I mean, I've never been in that position before.
No.
I've never got past the magic. I've never made it to magic 3.
I find it very difficult to get beyond the writing the script for the first one and then going, but it's nice. They pay me to write this script. Every year they pay me to write a new one, and I give it in. They go, yeah, it's good. I'm not going to do it.
I think it's definitely a challenge to write more.
Yeah,
I think, and it's scary because you don't want to fuck it up. And
it's sort of the only thing I wrote was Time, Gentlemen, Please, which was the Al Murray sitcom. But actually, we did 37 episodes of that in 2 years.
Fucking Nora.
Wow. But it became a lot easier. The first series, which was they gave us 10 extra halfway through the series, and I was writing most of it. That was quite hard.
Wow.
I had to write an episode a week.
Who did you write that with?
I wrote it. Well, it was me and Al, but because he was in it. Once we got into it, I was pretty much just writing it, and then we would rehearse it. It got to the point where they would record on Thursdays, I think. I would write on Wednesday and Thursday. The first rehearsal was Friday. I'd bring in what I'd written. They'd read it through. Then I'd go and rewrite it over the weekend. They'd read it on Monday, and then I'd rewrite it on Monday night, and then that would be the script.
And then rewrite, because it was in front of a live audience.
Then it was in front of a live audience, yeah. So they had Tuesday and Wednesday Wednesday sorted out, and then it was recorded on Thursday.
Other joke monkeys with you or anything?
No.
God.
So it was quite hard work. But I think the ones that I wrote quickly were once you get into it, once you've done a lot of them, the ones I wrote quickly weren't noticeably worse than the early ones. And with the first ones we spent months writing them, and then it became longer. But the actual second series, which was only 15, it felt really easy to write that. And then we did have a couple of other people writing episodes of that. But because you've got the characters and you know what's going on, so it's if you look at most American sitcoms, I really love Community and Parks and Rec, and
but they have 5,000
they
writers.
do, but they also have, they make those work for 6 or 7 long series, so 100 episodes.
Yeah, it's extraordinary.
And it does work for that, and often it's good by 6, and then the 7th one slightly tails off, I think, but then they stop it, don't they? So they kind of realise when it's hit its peak, I think, usually. I'm
only being silent because the more that I do, the less I know. So you're saying, I'm like, sounds good to me. I have no idea how television is made.
No. You're doing quite well for a man who has no idea.
Thank you.
I think you're writing it all, aren't you? Are you writing it all and he just comes in? He's the pretty boy with the beard coming in with his cock out in a little pouch.
When you said cock out, I was like, no. Then you said pouch, and I was like, yep.
But I find it, you both do so much, and you've got families, and I was sort of mentioning this backstage a little bit, but it's just, how do you manage to get so much done? Are you working like constantly and 9 to 5? And
and then I work, well, you work in the evenings, I guess, because you're stand-up. I work in the evenings as well.
Right.
So I work from 9 usually, sometimes 9:30, sometimes 10, but till, school finishes, and then hang out with my children for a bit, remind them who I am, and then I work in the evening usually.
Right. Yeah.
It's sucky.
Can't be bothered to do it. That's what I used to work that hard, and now I just prefer to do stuff like this where you don't have to really. I've just written some things in here. And then I come and talk to you.
Yeah, I think you should do a blend.
Easier.
It's nice. Mix it up.
Because you've been writing like American sitcoms, and pilots in America, and is it a series with Sarah Jessica Parker?
Yeah.
And are you writing that on your own or with
No,
someone else?
I've got a proper writers team on that. Yeah. So that's a bit that kind of helps a bit. But
So do you write a first draft and then they take it away and punch it up, or?
no, the other way around. You do like we just did a month in New York with all the writers there, and you just build the whole thing out of nothing. Like we'd already shot the pilot, so you have one, so you know your characters, and then you all these clever people in a room just kind of help. You just come up with ideas and get it all up on the board, and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And at the end of the month, you've got your outlines for a whole series, and then you farm them all out to all the different writers, and then they go off and they write them, and then they give them back to you and you rewrite them.
Sounds all right.
That's it.
But
Really.
it's a complicated process in America, and like you've had ones that have gone over and nothing's happened with.
Loads. I've made loads of pilots that could just come to nothing. But
they treat writers quite well out there, though. I think. Is that...
You mean money?
Yeah. Well, and just respect and.
Well, yeah. No, yeah. I suppose they do. I mean, you don't think they do here?
Well, I don't think they give enough, because don't you think the writing is the? I mean, it's once you've got the writing, then good actors will make it way better. But without the good writing, you don't really have anything.
Of course. But I suppose over there, what they do is they give the writer, the chance to be on set and to have a say in, how the whole thing is pans out and how it's filmed and stuff. I suppose here, unless you're kind of in it or you got a bit of clout, you kind of hand it over and then that's it. You kind of just have to see the finished article and just like it or lump it.
But I think for me as a comedy fan, I think there's always bad sitcoms and bad comedies, but there seems to be a lot of, on both sides of the Atlantic, a lot of really top-notch stuff coming out now. So that those systems are working one way, another, whether it's the British two people working together or...
Yeah, I know, but I think, well, it's easier here because we've got these short little series, don't we? So it's definitely easier, but there's no possible way that machine could continue to move in the States if they didn't have those great big sort of rooms of writers. But you kind of need money to do that. You need to sort of invest and spend a ton of dough, and I don't think we got the money to do that here, do we? We just got these tiny little silly budgets.
Speculate to accumulate, that's what I said. So, if you had to choose between dating someone who was a man who was... This is for both of you.
What was the
you had to
beginning of
choose between a man who was literally a 6 foot tall penis. That's all he was.
Where's
but he has a face on his penis.
On the tip?
On the not. I mean, it could be the tip. I imagine it's on the helmet. I mean, the eye could be his eye or mouth, but I imagine he's got like a face here, and then the blowholes at the top. Or that's one option. Or a man who, instead of having a penis, has a tiny man. There.
Wow.
But how big is this tiny man?
Well, it's between 4 and 6 inches, 4 and 8 inches on average.
But like, does it stay that 4 or 6 inches?
He may grow a little bigger when he's excited. Yeah. So he's not going to get.
I'll take the man with the little man.
Would you? What do you like about him as opposed to the?
Well, what do I like? I just don't think the other guy sounds like a monster.
Well,
I wouldn't like to go to dinner with him because he'd have to feed himself.
Very. You don't like turkeys because they're ugly. You don't like penis men because they're ugly. You're very.
But does he have arms or anything? Where's his balls?
No. He has. What he has is some fake. He has like a suit on with fake arms, like Rod Hull. So he's done his best to look as human as he can.
But no legs, so like a merman.
No, he shuffles along like a snail or a slug.
I'll take the man with the little man.
What about you, Rob? How would you like?
I would go man again, because with both of them, sex would be out of the equation. So I might have somebody. Might as well have somebody that.
You can definitely. And actually, someone emailed me, and I've not remembered their name, but they said because the tiny man is connected to the cardiovascular system of the big man, he doesn't need to breathe because he will get his oxygen through the blood.
Jesus.
But you wouldn't. If you were to insert him anyway, you wouldn't. I was worried about killing him with condoms and stuff.
Although, you know what? I wouldn't let...
Killing him with condoms.
I wouldn't let a man fuck me in the butt with his penis, but I would let a man with a... I would let the tiny man lick my butthole. Backed up by a thrusting motion. Yeah, I would let... So I guess...
also check around for stuff in there as well.
No, don't check, just lick.
Just check and see if there's anything... If he was a qualified doctor...
You'd let the tiny man lick your butthole. Yeah. How tiny? His tongue's going to be... It's pointless. You wouldn't even feel it.
I'll be the judge of that. I'm a very sensitive asshole.
If that turns up in the next series of Catastrophe, I will know. I've just written under Rob. I've got like more for you on this. I've divided you in two. I don't know why I've put this. Rob, we've become monsters is what I've put under there. Does that mean anything to
Agreed.
you? We've become monsters. Yeah. And what's that one say? Can't even read mine. This is women in adventure. That can't be what it says.
I like them.
That can't be what it says.
Women in adventure.
Tell me about women in adventure.
My wife signed up for a 10K yesterday.
Oh, right, there you go. Good.
Yeah. My wife and I did a half marathon, a trail half marathon, so it was like mountains a few years ago, and she beat me by over a half an hour. I like women in adventure.
I left my baby in the car the other day and forgot she was in there.
That's illegal. That's against the law. Delete this.
What have you ever done that with your kids?
Did you really do that?
Well, it was extenuating circumstances. We were had quite a stressful weekend, which we'll talk about.
Oh well, then it's forgiven.
And, my wife had lost her phone that she hadn't. It was in the car,
Uh-huh.
and we were meant to be going somewhere, and we were really rushed, and we were slightly arguing with each other, and we had to I had to turn around and drive back so my wife could see if her phone was in the street. And then I had to park I couldn't park anywhere because it's Shepherd's Bush. It's a nightmare. Hey, it's a lovely place.
Never during any of this did you notice that your baby was missing?
Well, no, she was in the car all the time. So I got out of the car and left her in the car. So I forgot, but I forgot she was in the car. Because she'd been in the back and I'd been driving around, and then I turned around, then I parked, and then I thought, oh, well, I've worked out how to find the phone. I can ring the phone. That's how tired we were.
The baby answered.
No, no, but I was out in the street. So I thought, I'll go down the street and I'll ring it, and if it's in the street, I'll hear it. And then I went to the house, I thought, oh, maybe I'll do the same in the house. My wife came in and said, where's the baby? And I just for a second I forgot I had a baby.
You remembered you had a baby, and there was a heat wave.
Yeah, it was very hot. And she was in the back of the car. The car was locked.
Oh.
Could have been towed because it was on a double yellow line. Or, just some madman in Shepherd's Bush could have come and shat in the car. You never done anything like that? You always remembered you've got children?
I think,
I've shit in a car. Oh, have you? Oh.
Shit in a car. No, I don't believe I've ever done anything.
As if.
No, but I mean, I've done bad things. I've done things that like a sensible mother wouldn't do. I've kind of. When I first had a kid, I was breastfeeding, so I didn't drink for the first while. But when I stopped breastfeeding so I could start drinking again. That's basically what I did. But my first couple of nights out, I overdid it, obviously. And then I remember thinking, it's so amazing that when I have a big night out, the baby sleeps till 10. It's just amazing. And obviously now I realise. I was asleep till 10.
Your breast milk. Oh, I thought it was because your breast milk was like 80 proof.
Oh, no. No, I always would pump and, get rid of that stuff. Or keep it for a little.
Pump it, put it in the fridge, and I'd pay $700 a pint for it.
Have you ever left your child somewhere?
Yeah, I
Cameron
have
did it as
3 now, so it'd be a lot easier to do. But I can remember when I only had 1. Being at home and leaving on foot. I thought, you know what, I'm going to go, rather than this shitty coffee I make, I'm going to go get a nice one. And I got about, not too far, about like an 1/8 of a mile from my house, and then I thought, there's a baby back there. And remembered and went back.
See, I think it's at the beginning, it's hard, it's easy to forget that you've got them.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
It's all very hard.
I'm just seeing if I'm, Oh, the thing in Pulling, like I was going to talk to you about in Pulling, is one of the characters shaves down to a Hitler moustache.
Yeah.
And then goes out in the street and gets beaten up having a Hitler moustache.
Yeah.
I had a Hitler moustache for a year and I never got beaten up once.
You never got beaten up? There was no...
In fact, nobody even really... The worst thing that happened was I passed a white van man at about 12 midnight on the night. He looked at me and said, "Well done, mate. You're a man after my own heart." That was the worst thing. Wow. Everything else was people just went and laughed, and sort of the minute they were behind me, laughed like the moustache made me deaf. They were like, and then just like I wouldn't be able to hear that. And occasionally, someone went, "I think he had a Hitler moustache." Jim Rosenthal saw me at the O2 when I was at an Al Murray gig, and he said to his wife, "That man's got a Hitler moustache. Oh dear." He was the only person. Jim Rosenthal.
Did you have a girlfriend at the time?
I did. I was with my wife, so it was a good, test that my wife was the right person to be with. That if she used to put up with me through that, I didn't have it for the entirety of the year, but I had it for most of the year.
How was your sex life?
It was good because she is a pervert, and so it was, and she is a Nazi as well. So it was very exciting. Very exciting. I think it was fine then, before we had a baby. But no, it was fun. She understood. She's understood a lot of things about me that, I'm very lucky. I've found a very good woman.
You really are.
But she doesn't want you to do the robots thing.
She don't. Well, that's why. In a way.
She's not perfect.
Maybe I'm in the wrong there. I don't know.
You're not.
I'm not. No. So yeah, it was. But that's quite interesting because you would assume. I was really terrified, and I live in Shepherd's Bush, and it's a multicultural area, and I really thought people would be. And then the Guardian wrote a big article about me saying that it took like 3 or 4 lines out of context, that I hate anyone from Pakistan or something. There was some routine I'd done on the podcast where I'd said, let's just solve all the world's problems. We'll decide who's right and who's wrong. And then I said, India's right. I hate everyone in Pakistan. And so then it said, I hate Pakistan. Then in the Guardian it said, I hate Richard Herring with a hit moustache says, I hate Pakistanis. I'd like a bit of context on that, really, because it was sort of a joke, and I walk around and I've got a hit moustache, and it's quite easy to spot who I am now.
Oh, wow.
So it was a weird time. But your character got beaten up straight, but every man does do that.
What, the
shaving?
Yeah.
You'll do it when you take that thing off.
Well, I grow a beard all the time. What I do is I just shave once every couple of months, and then it grows back because I don't want to have a beard. It's just because of all the kids that I have. If I go in to shave, something will explode or a kid will fall down a well, and then I have to run out. So now I just don't shave. That's why I have a beard.
So, Sharon, what's it like, your brother, I suppose everyone goes on about your brother, Mark, who's a producer for a multi-platform media production company. Does everyone go on about that all the time?
They actually do go on about Mark. Because he produces one of the most successful sports shows in Ireland called Second Captains. They have a podcast, if you want to tune into that. Okay. Actually they do, Mr. Snidey.
He took me out in Dublin. We had a blast.
Yeah.
Her other brother's a famous rugby player, but I wouldn't know anything about that, nor would any. Look at these, they know. They don't know anything about sport. I thought they would like it because he was a multimedia nerd. I thought everyone would go, hey.
But Shane isn't playing anymore, so you're a bit out of date there.
I don't care. If I liked him, I'd have him on, wouldn't I? But I don't like rugby.
You should have them both on. They're very fun.
Should I get both of them on next week? I've got a space on the 20th. If they want to come on, we can find out all about the turkey farm.
Get my sisters down as well.
Yeah. You got how many cousins have you got? Because Roisin Conti was on. She's got 80 first cousins. 80? Yeah.
I have no idea. I
couldn't count them. There's too many to count.
I've actually got no idea. I don't know how many cousins I have. Right. I know 4 of them, but I assume there's a ton more. I've got a load in New Zealand as well, so I don't really.
Because the paper described you as an English-Irish actor, and you're from New Zealand. You put New Zealand and Ireland, really.
Well, my dad's a New Zealander. My mum's Irish. Now, I was born in London, but I was brought up in Ireland. So I mean, I don't know what that is. A little bit.
What is your child who's been born in England? Are they American or English?
American. Yeah, they don't care if you were born. If you were born to American parents here, then you're American and you get a U.S. passport. I think you have to be here for quite a while before the UK will acknowledge your existence. It's sort of a new thing. It used to not be that way, but now they're like, fuck you guys.
So he can't get an British passport?
Maybe when he turns 5, I think, is what then he could.
Are you going to plan to stay in the UK, or are you going to move back?
I don't know. We're crazy about it. My eldest son is about to start reception, and they've got British accents now since they're so young, which is adorable. We love it here. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in any regard with the future.
None of us
love to stay. I mean, I love London, love LA. Flip a coin. I don't care.
You can live in both, can't you?
No.
I
mean, you're not with kids at that age. They would go insane.
I'll ask you another. Do you have any good ideas for terrorist atrocities? Because I keep thinking them up.
Terrorist atrocities.
Don't you keep making up terrorist atrocities? I've naturally got an anti-terrorist plan for you now, because I've given a lot of terrorist ideas out, and I'm worried they'll be implemented. The thing I do now is when I have a free newspaper, in case anyone starts like machine gunning people on the tube, I roll it up into like a cudgel.
Yeah,
and then
throat.
They won't expect you to hit them with a newspaper.
A rolled up newspaper.
You could really.
I'll show you something backstage. Another thing.
I'm ready. So that is my anti-terrorist. I'll have that, and then no one's gonna arrest you for having that. But you could really, if you cracked them in the temple with that.
Yeah, anti-terrorist. There's a lot of things you can do to people's feet that they're not expecting, because they think you're going to go for like center mass. You can fuck up people's feet with relative ease.
Yeah.
Also, have you ever had your armpit? Do it to yourself. Pull your armpit hair, grab it by the fist, and pull it down. Do it backstage where you can really do it. Unbelievably painful. So you can disable somebody with their armpit hair.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know that. I do it to Sharon often. What I do. In my terrorist fantasies, what I do is I pretend, I think about times in my life when I've been close to death, and then I try to just wrap myself in that blanket, and I think I'm definitely going to die, and then just go and try to kill as many of them as you can with your hands. And so I think if you're ever faced in a situation with violence, just be like, I'm definitely going to die, and then maybe you won't. It'll be a nice surprise when you don't.
And then just go windmilling in.
Yeah, just go nuts.
Well, I don't think the terrorists will be expecting that. That's the thing. If you attack them, whatever. I think they'll be expecting you to run away or just die. But if you go, I'm going to go and come and get you, they'll go, ooh.
Yeah. No, you have
surprised.
Just go nuts and laugh. Wait, if they cut you and you bleed, be like, ha, I like that, and then they'll be scared. Yeah, you have to go total psychopath.
I'm just going to run away.
Yeah. Do you ever come up with? I'm both. I'm kind of obsessed with everything that can go wrong. And especially now I've got a child. I just think my brain is my worst enemy, because it thinks of everything that could go wrong all the time.
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah.
You mean?
Well, everything. Just like that guy flying that plane into that mountain. That just really fucks me off.
That guy sucks.
Because that now it's not just
asshole.
when you're on a plane.
Yeah.
It's like you could be on the back of a rickshaw and the bloke goes, I'm going to drive this off a cliff. I've gone crazy. There's no point in safe fight. If you start realising that people, you could be a doctor in the hospital going, I'm going to inject you with some medicine, and they just inject you with a deadly poison.
Oh my God, I'm never going to take a rickshaw again. No, but even if they just decided to drive it into a skip, they really
like
pedal.
whiplash. You're like, I cut my knee rather badly.
I'm not saying it's bad as the plane guy, but you could get.
I have that all the time, constantly. Like I walk down the street and I'll think something massive is going to fall on my head, and I'll physically kind of just flinch all throughout the day. I'm thinking I'm going to die.
When I was when I was like 8, my science teacher at my primary school was like, you see the slate up on that roof, and it was like 4 stories up. He's like, one of those slid off, cut your head clean off, you wouldn't know what happened. I already 8 now I cannot see any kind of slate roofing without imagining my 8-year-old head being like, Papa! And now it's almost soothing.
Yeah. Well, someone told me a story that they had a flat opposite a big department store in London that like a thing fell off.
Oh.
And just said you wouldn't believe how much blood there is in the purse.
Oh.
Wow.
That's it. If you're going to go, that's quite a good way to go.
Is it?
You wouldn't know anything about that, would you? Just
I don't know. Maybe you would.
A gargoyle falls on your head.
I want a little bit of. I want to at least be like, oh fuck. Like, give me a second. I don't want to necessarily feel it, but I'd love to know what's going to happen.
But I see. Then I talked about this the other week. The other day, I nearly choked on an apricot stone. And I was on my own in the house, and I ate the whole stone. And I thought I was convinced it was trapped in my throat. I was trying to get it. I couldn't get it up. And I thought I'm going to die, and I was just embarrassed.
Yeah.
I was just like going, I was thinking my wife and my my wife and my baby are going to come home and just find me dead on the floor and find out how I died.
And they would be right
embarrassed
if they went, you fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking, oh no, I've got to think about, I was just thinking.
That's how your daughter would remember you. You're a kind of idiot who would like.
Well, as I say,
eat
but
an apricot stone.
they go. First of all, they would go. My dad's dead, and people.
Yeah.
And they never to go. What happened? How did he die? Oh, he ate some fruit inefficiently, and then they would go. What fruit was it? And then they'd go an apricot. Like, ooh, fresh apricots. Who's he think?
Fellini, I think, choked to death on a mozzarella stick. Tennessee Williams choked to death on the cap of a medicine bottle. So you'd be in pretty illustrious company.
It would, but it's interesting because I thought I probably am going to die, and I wasn't scared. I was just embarrassed. I just thought.
You did.
I guess. I never saw it again, so it's either growing inside me.
You can still cough it up and joke on it.
It's quite small. It obviously scraped my throat on the way down, so it felt like it was stuck in my throat.
Have you been collecting your stool since to make sure you comb through it?
I expected, because it hurt on the way down, and that's quite a big opening.
Yeah.
So I was expecting.
So you mean when it comes out of your big windy asshole, you definitely won't feel it? Your big floppy asshole.
I was expecting some chafing, but it escaped like a prisoner, like those prisoners down the sewage pipe, disguised as a turd. Yeah. He floated away, because if I'd got it, I'd have got it out, and I'd have kept that somewhere special. I'd have mounted that as the... But it's kind of interesting to think you're going to die and then not be... Well, just not think, oh no, this is terrible. It was overridingly embarrassment.
Yeah. I'm very accident prone, so I fall over a lot and get knocked down quite a lot, and I've never once sort of thought I was going to die, but I have a few times thought I might have severe brain damage. Or never walk again, one of those.
I get mad when people do stupid things in front of me where they could die. My wife and I climbed Half Dome in Yosemite National Park, which is a super hard thing to climb. And when you get up near the top, there's like a track that you're supposed to stay on, because they're like, you're going to die if you go on either side of this, because it's too easy to fall off this big mountain. You're like, that's boring. You're like, fuck, I don't want to hear that story. I remember some guy went outside the thing, and my wife were like, fuck, this guy's gonna make us watch him die. And we were so angry. Not like, how can we help him? We were like, he's gonna ruin our vacation by dying in front of us. And he did, and it did.
It's still cross about it now, to this day. I do a thing called Desert. Oh, we should stop in a sec.
Richard?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, thank you. I haven't done either of them. You didn't remind me about the first one either. There's two things I have to do. This should have been the opening monologue. Alex Newsom and Joey Cannon have a very happy wedding. Or if only Joey is listening, ask Alex... Oh, so no, if only Joey is listening, ask her, why? Why? Look at him, why? So that is from Jamie Cox, who obviously secretly fancies his friend's fiancée. So thank you for that. He paid some money for that. And I have to ask you a question. Just hoping I've got the right one. This is from Victoria Muir. What's the one thing you wouldn't want your mother to find out? It's quite a good question. I thought of that.
But I
won't
can.
listen to this.
Well, you don't know.
Yeah.
My dad is quite enthusiastic about what I do, so he'll find it.
Okay.
Wouldn't know.
You're all right, because your mum's in bloody Carolina or somewhere.
No. My mom would likely find out too. I mean, I can tell you, I know when I first joined Twitter, my mom would read the things that I'd written, and she'd call me, and she didn't know how Twitter worked yet. She thought it was like a board that anybody could post on, and she'd call me, and she was like, Rob, honey, people are posting disgusting stuff on your twitter.com profile. I don't know why. Did you give them access? Are you able to take down what they've written? And she didn't know that it was me writing things. But for like a good year, I was like, oh God, I know, I gotta figure out how to get, it is a shame. And then like at one point she was like, I understand that you are writing these things, and I was like, sorry. She was pretty upset, understandably.
I'd hate my mother to find out that I'm an Al-Qaeda. That would really, that would suck.
That would be bad. Yeah. But surely, like, you've done so much, you put so much of yourself into what you've written.
I thought my auntie's a nun,
right.
and my parents are pretty much Irish and very Catholic, and so I always I thought by now they would have disowned me, but they're so into it.
Right?
They really enjoy it, and that's always a surprise to me.
Yeah. I think I got over the embarrassment. You know, I remember being embarrassed when my parents came to my stand-up gigs early on, especially when I mentioned them. And I got emotional when I talked about it. I did a show called The Headmaster Somewhere. In the end, I kind of, spoiler alert, realised that it was harder for my dad being my headmaster than it was for me being... But I genuinely hadn't thought about it from his point of view until I was 40 years old. But then when he was in the audience, you know, and I was saying, having to say he was a nice guy, that was the hardest thing.
Oh, yeah.
That was a harder thing to do. So, you know, but now I kind of say anything. And I go to Cheddar every year and do my current stand-up show at the school. And they've got a little theatre, not in front of the pupils. But it's sort of, they've all been, every year until this year, it's like I'm doing Talking Cock or Christ on a Bike or Hitler Moustache. And they won't even put the title up around Cheddar. So it's like really embarrassing for my parents in the long way. They're a bit part of the community, but you know, got used to it. I mean, there's nothing I wouldn't...
Once it like pays the bills, like before it paid the bills, I was ashamed of myself. Yeah. Once I could buy like underpants with comedy money, I was like, I don't care what anyone thinks.
When you started earning money, what was the first sort of adult thing you wanted to buy?
Well, I don't know if that's happened yet. I've done that.
Mine was mint Viscounts.
What are those?
I just couldn't believe that I could buy any kind of biscuit, and just the world of biscuits was open to me.
I think I had biscuits before I earned money.
But any kind of, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'd really wanted. But I remember being a kid and thinking, well, I'd like to be in a position where I could have a whole bar of chocolate and not have to share it with anyone. That seemed like an impossible goal that would never happen to you, however well you did. But I wrote a book about the year I turned 40. It was the year I met my wife, but what I was doing before I met my wife, which was pretty disgusting.
It was.
And my mum read it. And there's a bit in the book where I'm having a threesome and a woman tries to put a champagne bottle up my anus. And I'm not really into it. And my mum read the whole thing and she said, yes, it's exactly what... There was nothing in it I didn't expect. I go, really? The bit where the woman wanted to put the champagne bottle... But once you've written that...
Why did she want to put that in there?
I think she thought I would like it. I said, no, thanks.
But was it... had it been drunk?
Yeah, it was like an empty bottle.
Oh, all right.
She wasn't planning to open it with my anus.
Here's two things.
But now you've said that.
I can kill two birds with one stone here. Here, my mom wouldn't want to know this. Is that I did the one time I ever participated in a threesome was my freshman year in college. The only cool part about it was like when something was like crackling in the air and I was like, wait, is a threesome about to happen? And then that was cool. Then it started happening. I didn't know what to do and everything. And then it ruined my relationship with both of the girls so badly that I went to a party at their house a few months later after not having spoken to them, and I went to take a piss and I lifted up the toilet lid and they had put my picture on the back of the toilet lid. And I was like, oh wow. I wept.
But were you not shy about your... I mean, you've obviously just revealed that now for the first time.
In public to people.
Were you not shy about writing about a threesome and a champagne bottle up your hole in a book?
Well, I kind of thought it was important because it was quite... It was an honest book, and I wanted because by the end of the book I'd kind of turned things round. I wanted to be quite honest about...
So it's like
it wasn't like
redemption.
It wasn't, it's not like... It's still quite good, but it's still good. I'm glad I did it. It was a thing that I was really sort of obsessed with doing.
I thought you didn't do it. I thought you wouldn't let her.
Well, no, not. I mean, having a threesome. It was the champagne bottle wasn't part of it, but I kind of wanted to show how far I'd gone, and it was actually quite. It was just about a month or so before I met my wife that this happened.
Oh wow!
And so it's like it opened the door to me. Once had someone tried to put a champagne bottle up my ass that I didn't want.
Oh wow!
Now it was okay for me to get married. So it was a beautiful part in that.
I assumed that was in knowing that it happened less than 20 years ago. I'm a little grossed out.
Did you put it in your vows, like when you're? A lovely story.
No, but it was, there were worse things. There was bad things. It was a difficult midlife crisis time. But thankfully, hopefully, there's no way back now, is there? I can't go back to those days. Not without murdering my wife and child. That would be. Now I've said that in the podcast, though, if anything happens to them, people are I'm going to be the first person they suspect.
You would have been anyway.
If they're dead, the police come in and I'm having a threesome, they'll go, putting 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
We're going to have to go, because I've managed to embarrass myself more than either of you. And that is not the point of this podcast. You've cleverly, like, Louis Theroux me. He started turning it around on me. Yeah, you've got to wait for that.
Oh, wow.
He started questioning me about my disgusting life and saying, maybe I should do one about stand-up comedians. There'd be better stand-up comedians than me to do that about that, wouldn't there?
No, there wouldn't be.
No, there would be, Richard.
No, maybe not. Well, thank you very much for coming on to my podcast. It was lovely to see you again and lovely to see you the first time. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up, Rob Delaney and Sharon Horgan! Fantastic. How'd you like them sky potatoes? Thank you very much for watching / listening to Richard Haines' Leicester Square Theatre podcast with Rob Delaney and Sharon Horgan. It was quite good. I have to say this, Matthew Blackstad, who I believe directed me in the Threepenny Opera at Oxford University, has... I think that's right, has paid to say, hello nerds, buy my book Sock Puppet, the perfect read for ham-handed IT professionals, out in 2016. Find out more at Matt Black, Mattblak, if you want to read his book Sock Puppet, not Sock Fuck It. That's a different book that I am going to bring out in in direct competition in 2016. Thank you very much for watching / listening, watching and listening possibly, or just listening. There will be more of these in the future. Go to gofasterstripe.com/badges, buy a badge, pay monthly or just a one-off, and then you can help us make more internet content, including As It Occurs to Me, hopefully back in 2016.